Hey, welcome to Bears Banter. My name is Bernard Muhammad. Alongside of me tonight is Guy Moore, Mike Alton, Quick, Tammy Harris, and Jay Beasley. Club Dub is open.
Yeah.
Hey, it's open with restrictions, though. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's open with restrictions, man.
Right.
Shoot.
Right.
Hey, the
Man.
Bears win today 25-24 against the Seattle Seahawks. What turned out to be a very exciting game. It came down to the wire. And you know what? It's so good to come on here talking about a win versus a loss. And I think we were just coming out, a 4-game losing streak again? Something like that.
Something like
because
that.
we haven't won a game since Thanksgiving. Yeah, so how's everybody doing today?
Great.
Oh, I'm good.
I'm doing.
Y'all doing good?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can't complain.
Okay. And how was y'all holiday
need
yesterday?
to come home for us to win.
Right. Hey, you're gonna have to come on every weekend now, Tammy.
Right.
You like Tom Joyner, the fly jockey.
She gonna fly jockey. Just about to say that, man.
Fly jockey.
Hardest working woman in
She
Bears
sung all the way
history.
up here too.
I can say this is the first time in a long time I've actually got to watch a game with my mommy.
Oh,
ain't that
how
sweet?
was she acting?
Ain't that sweet?
How was your mama acting?
Like a mama.
Oh yeah.
But she watched the game. These are football players. And she's up there. He need a hat on. I said, Mom, they're playing football.
Hey.
And when somebody was tackling somebody, she was like, "Oh my God, why he got to do him like that?"
Oh man,
I like that, man.
I was like,
Mom. I seen a picture of your family, Tammy, and your mother looked like she might get that switch on one of them players. Like, hey, you
whoop your crust.
My mama was tough. She was tough.
Your mom was one of those switch mamas. Go get your own switch. Like what? Get that switch.
Yeah, y'all come back with that switch that's like this big, and she take half a tree off the thing or whatever.
Man.
Actually, she was tough, but she really didn't believe in like a lot of physical discipline. That's why we nerds. She would make us go in the basement and get a book and write a book report, or she would
even worse.
or she would make us get our math books and those exercises in the back that have like 100 problems. She'd be like, do exercise 100 and whatever and 100 and whatever that have like 100 math problems.
Oh man.
Yeah, hey, I see we got our first comment of the day. Rodney Purdy said, "Hello, Nagy still sucks. Go Bears. Good win for y'all." Yeah, Rodney is actually a New Orleans Saints fan. Okay. Hey, so the Bears win this game 25-24. Hey, Jay, I mean, what did you see offensively that you liked in this game or disliked in this game?
Y'all gonna start with me? The Debbie
Downer?
Downer?
With you, Jay.
Come on down.
Man, look, I'm glad they won. I'm not impressed. Not impressed at all. You know what? The play calling in this game was atrocious.
Well,
I want to say, off the top of my head, I want to say the last 2 games, the Bears have had 12 trips in the red zone, and they scored 2 touchdowns. And it was funny because you know how they have the halftime report and the young lady on Fox come out, "Well, I talked to Matt Nagy." Well, she's like, "I talked to Matt Nagy." And his quote was, "We need to score more points in the red zone." Well, guess what? You need to stop calling plays in the red zone, because the plays that you calling in the red zone, especially on 1st and goal from the 5, is atrocious.
Was it the 5?
It was the 5.
Yeah.
It was the 5.
From the 5?
I'm not impressed. I'm glad they won. I really am. But as far as, this is a win that it really doesn't mean anything. I mean, we were playing a team just as bad as we were. So I'm not impressed. I'm glad we won. As far as the offense goes, I said on the pregame, Nick Foles actually might win this game. So outside of that, a win is a win, but I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. It's a win for the coaches to say their job, but your job is not going to be safe.
To do that.
And for you to actually, the premise has always been go for the tie at home, go for the tie on the road, and the win at home.
Win at home.
That was a gutsy call to take the lead in this game. And it was a hell of a play by Damiere Byrd. It really was a hell of a throw. Two hell of a throws by Nick Foles on the touchdown and on the 2-point conversion. But at the same time, like I said, I'm okay. It was all right. It was just all right.
Okay. Hey, what's up to my frat brother William Smith? What else, Smitty? Top Theta Outlaws. He says he'll take this win. What's up, frat? Jimmy Red says they shocked me. I turned at halftime. The right side flat was open all day. Jay, as far as offense, I don't understand why you running the Wildcat in the red zone on the 1 yard line. That makes no sense when you got a running back that got power. But Tammy, what you want to say about the offense? What did you like? Anything you didn't like?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They need to burn that Wildcat play. They also need to burn that sideways throw play. They never get anything out of either one of them. I mean, I agree with Jay. The play calling was horrible all day. And somebody posted in the group that the play calling was it better today? And I'm like, no, it wasn't better. The Bears actually just kind of lucked up. I mean, Seattle shot themselves in the foot missing that easy field goal. Otherwise, we wouldn't have won. But there were so many stupid play calls in the red zone that it just didn't make any sense. And then even when they went for it, like on third down, when Nick Foles threw it in the end zone, nobody was there. I'm like, dude, you could have failed and been on the 2 yard line. If you didn't feel like going for it, you could have, instead of like still being back on the 6 wherever we were, you could have at least failed where you were and been at the 2 or the 1 wherever he was, instead of throwing it to nobody, which made no sense. And then he didn't run for the first down when nobody was by him because he was too scared to get hit, but he could have got the first down. But luckily, I think something came out of it, or maybe we didn't get that one. I don't know. But no, I don't think we got that one. But either way, he's scary. He made a few good plays at the right time. And we were lucky to win it. We'll take the win. I didn't change my pick, although I did say Nick Foles could actually pull this out. But I stuck with the Seahawks, and technically the Seahawks should have won, but we got lucky.
Okay, Tammy. Hey, Mike, what's your take on the offense today?
Good evening. Offensive MVP. The offensive MVP for me is Jermaine Ifedi, because if he doesn't recover that fumble, they are in trouble.
Yep.
Fumbled by Foles. So he finally got close to his quarterback, as we was complaining about him last week. Because had this been last week, it would have been Seattle's ball. But hey man, offensively, we keep talking about David Montgomery, his progression as a player. I mean, he has some monster runs. We were talking before the show came on live. Man, he ran over somebody from Seattle that made me like twitch. I was like, oh. But he continues to keep putting up production. Mooney had a big catch down the road. But one thing that I hate is when they run that jet sweep, and I've been noticing this all day with a bunch of the receivers, they keep trying to stretch the ball outside when there's a cutback lane to run for more yards, and you just keep stretching it out. I'm like, come on, Mooney, cut the ball up. I mean, cut it up. But offensively, do you guys remember when I told y'all they keep running that same play to Jimmy Graham every game? That was the touchdown to win the game. That was the same play that they run every time he's in there, the same exact play. I'm like, hey, you guys don't have a clue that they're going to run at it yet? But they run the same plays, man. And offensively, we just overcame bad play calling again.
Mm-hmm.
Our offense is vanilla, and we need more chocolate. I mean, it's just terrible. But
I want to call it strawberry.
Wait,
I want to call it strawberry.
The offensive play calling is vanilla, but I will add this that I didn't say. The players were fighting. They were hustling. They were fighting today.
Yeah, that's why I said they overcame bad play calling.
But I said the play calling is vanilla. Our offense, we got potential. I still think our offense has potential. We just need a better coach.
And you know what, Tammy? Real quick, just to piggyback off what Tammy said. You know what? Anytime you get a win like this, I do give it to the players because the players are still out there playing, and they actually out there doing it. You know, they executing what the coaches are calling. But at the same time, as you sit and watch this game, you like Montgomery whipped off a 11-yard carry.
And you took him out.
And you took him out, and then they ran five straight pass plays. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. It's snowing in Seattle, right. 17-degree wind chill, 9-mile winds, and you got Nick Foles, who hasn't started all year, dropping back, throwing passes. I don't get it. But you know what? I'm so over it. Because Matt Nagy, you out of here. You try to say your job, but even a win against Seattle ain't going to say your job. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not.
Hey, Guy, I know you didn't see much of the game, but did you have any opinion of the offense? A little bit
They won despite of. I've been saying this the whole time, man. The same Bears offense. The offense is pretty much as stagnant as it's been for about the past 2 or 3 years. The difference being is the defense has saved us. Here's something interesting. They ran got one less play than last week, and they got 18 more points. No fumbles lost, no interceptions. And you mentioned the whole thing about Montgomery ripping off 11 yards. Like every game he does that. What do? They take him off or they run some garbage. And outside that 11-yard run, they only had another 77 yards rushing. They held the ball for 17 minutes longer. So, I mean, even despite the fact they did some of the things to make themselves win, I know they had 80-something yards, 73 yards, 8 penalties for 73 yards. But running that clock, man, that's that clock management. They scored 25 points. I think it's more so it's a victory for the players, man. It's a victory. We'll take it. I'll take my L on the record because it's all good when the Bears win. So there you have it.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, as far as my opinion, I'm going to start off with a couple of the positive things with the Bears. It's good to see the Bears offense score 25 points, but they could actually have more points than that. They actually continue to pass on field goals when they, continuation from last week. When here's the negative part. I don't understand why the Bears have negative plays in the red zones constantly. You almost anticipate they're going to either have a false start, they're going to have a sack, or
a holding.
They're going to have something to push them back a good 10 yards anytime they get to the red zone. It's like without doubt. I mean, one point in this game, they got they got a penalty as soon as they got in the red zone. They overcame that, got a first, got on the goal line, then turned right back around and ended up getting penalty and being bagged up almost to where they started at before they got the first down. So those are the negatives. And also the positive, Montgomery running like a madman. Mooney made some great catches. Negative is, why are you using Mooney in the backfield as a running back?
I heard that. I was like, somewhere on my radio.
I said that like 3 times.
Yeah, I didn't get that. Yeah, I didn't get that at all. Why is Mooney back there getting handoff? You got 2 good running backs. You don't just have one. You have 2 good running backs.
You actually got 3.
You bring it in.
You actually got 3.
Wins the third string guy, and you giving several handoffs to Mooney. That doesn't really actually make sense to me. But as far as that, that was a gutsy play at the end by Nagy, but he had nothing to lose. But you surely should have never been in that play because if you took the field goal earlier, you would actually be winning this. You'd have been winning this game. So my grade for the offense, I'm gonna get an offense C. What's your grade on the offense, Tammy? As far as grade?
I mean, I'll give them a C too. It's mainly because they let me see. Yeah, I'll see, the play calling was just so horrible, but the players were fighting hard. Like you saw them fighting for yards. You saw them trying to make catches. You saw them really hustling and trying to make things happen out of nothing. I'll give them a C plus.
You give them a C plus. Hey, Jay, how you grade the offense?
Unfortunately, I have to get him a C plus too because again, like Tabby just said, this was all about the players. This was all about the players. This wasn't about the coaching because the coaching sucked in this game. It sucked. And when you talk about the play calling, I was texting you guys and I was texting my boy Ed, who I go to the games with. He's like, what are they doing? The play calling sucked in this game, but the players were able to overcome that. And I have to get them a C plus on that because, they did fight for every yard that they got. It was so many times where it was the Bears actually converted, and correct me if I'm wrong, somebody, if they got the stats in front of them. I'm just going off of memory. But I think they was like 8 or 12 on third down.
7-14.
Okay, 7 to 14. Same 50%. When was the last time you saw that? That ain't coaching, that's players. They were really, really trying.
Going on that whole thing. When was the last time you saw a team run 2 consecutive quarterback sneaks in the same? I mean, could 2 consecutive?
You know what? If Foles would have gone for, even if he wouldn't have not got it, if he would have gone for those 2 first downs, I probably would have even gave them a B. But he's so doggone scary.
But again, you got to run it. But again, you got a top grade running back. It's 3rd and 1. Give him the ball.
Give him the ball.
I'm not talking
if
about
you don't get it, if it's 4th and 1, give him the ball.
But I'm talking about when they didn't. I don't even know if they had Montgomery in on this play, which is another stupid thing why you don't have him in on when you're going for something on 4th and 1. But it was one where Foles had nobody to throw it to. And he had nobody in front of him. All he needed to do was lay down. All he had to do was go 2 more yards. He stopped and he threw it. I'm like, oh, why didn't you just go the other 2 yards and get the first down? He's so freaking scary. He's so freaking scary.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I'd like to thank everybody who's watching us on YouTube and Facebook today. Hey, Jimmy Red said the red zone is like kryptonite to our offense.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, Jimmy. Yes, it is.
Hey, guy, how do you grade the offense, guy?
I give him a C. I mean, like I said, you know what? From everything I saw, I kind of did like the Cliff Note version of watching the game. Them dudes play hard, man. I have nothing bad to say about that. I gotta give them a C plus as well, but they did the other things too that allowed themselves to win, despite the bad coaching. Let's see what else. They only punted 3 times. They gave up 4 sacks. They were 1 or 3 4th down efficiency. They held the ball longer. They had more first downs. And like I said, guys were like, and I like to see that, man, because a whole lot of cats would just be content with let's just get it over with. I mean, and that says everything, man. But yeah, I give him a C plus.
Okay,
hey, cutie.
We got 4 C's. Hey, what about you, Quick?
Well, let's see here. I'm gonna go. I really want to give him a D because if you look at the stats for today's game, I mean it's like beyond belief. I mean, like David Montgomery, what he had 21 carries for 45 yards.
Wow, was it that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
was it that?
He had 61 yards receiving, so he had a total of 100 yards. But then you look at Khalil Herbert had 2 carries for 21 yards, but one of them was a
20-yard touchdown. It was a 20-yard touchdown.
Yeah, so it's like I'm looking at the stats like,
but they were moving the ball and they were much better on 3rd down conversions.
Yeah, but I'm like, I'm watching the game now. I'm looking at the stats like, who was moving the ball? Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. The stats don't add up. It's like, Foles had what? He had 250 yards total passing, and Montgomery had 61 of those yards. Mooney had 57, and Montgomery led us in rushing and receptions. So I'm like, I give us I'm only giving us a C minus because we won.
It was
Had
a
we
stinker.
lost,
It was a stinker.
yeah, I mean, it was like
Yeah.
watching the toilet bowl with two boo boos rolling around.
Watch the toilet bowl with no
But
toilet paper.
right, the only reason I'm giving them a C minus is because they came back and scored at the end. They usually
Yeah.
score at the end, and it usually don't mean anything.
It don't mean nothing,
But
right?
Yeah.
converting the 2-point conversion moves them from a D plus to a C
To a C
minus.
minus.
But if you
But
guys get a
Commander
chance
had
to,
an important catch, and of course Jimmy Graham had an important catch. So
yeah,
I think they didn't have a player who had a great game, but the whole team got a little involved enough to win. So it was a team win.
yeah, they
Hey,
just
Tammy,
played a team
who's
that
that
was
sitting on your lap, Tammy?
This is my niece Zara.
Hi,
Say
Hey,
hello.
Zara.
Hey, Zara.
Hey,
all
Zara.
right. She's like, who's them people? Who them people be?
And they
When
can't
I
have
come
none of
home,
my
she
they can't have
stays
none of my
under me.
auntie coming.
Does she? Okay.
Yeah, my sister just came in here. Was like, get away from her. I said she could stay.
All right. Auntie
Yeah.
got a spoil.
Right.
Yeah, you know what other thing as far as before we move over to the defensive side of the field, the Bears actually scored a touchdown in the third quarter.
Yeah, I was
Today,
just, yeah.
this is
That's what
probably the
won the
fourth
game.
time this
Doesn't
year that
happen
they actually
often.
scored a touchdown in the third quarter.
Doesn't happen often.
That's
Doesn't
how they
happen
Doesn't
won the
often at
happen
game.
all. Right. Hey,
That's how
let's
they
look at the
won.
bragging rights real quick.
It's a
Guy
three-way
is 10 and
tie.
5. Quick is 10 and 5. I'm 10 and 5. Jay is
He
9 and
couldn't wait.
6. Tammy 9 and 5. And Plank is 5 and 10.
Now I'm
I'm sorry,
No,
5 and
Tammy,
no,
10.
75 and
yeah,
10.
5 and 10. Yep. Yeah, because she was 5 and 9 last week. If she'd have went with her gut feeling, she would have been 6 and 9.
Yep.
You know, she wanted to change her mind Friday. She even sent some comments, and I'm like, "Are you changing your pick?" And she like, "No." Then today, I'm like, "Are you changing your pick?"
Because I said it again. I said I had the thought again today, but I was like, you know what? It's too late.
Okay. Hey, if you're watching us on YouTube, hit that red subscribe button at the bottom. Subscribe to Bears Banner. And if you're watching us on Facebook and you're not in the Facebook Bears Banner Facebook group, then join Bears Banner Facebook group. Okay. All right. Hey, let's move over to the defense. Let's start
Wait,
off with
quick
the
question,
defense.
Bernard.
Uh-huh.
I have a question for you. Weren't you the one, and I think you said this before, didn't you say in 2018, even though that was the season that Nagy had a good season, the offense still only averaged 16 points? Because I looked that up today and I'm like, the offense, they averaged only 16 points, but the defense was averaging 2 to 3 points,
Two
and
points.
special teams was averaging 7.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
like, it was still, the offense was still not productive, even in his winning season as a coach, where everybody thought he was so great.
Right.
The
No.
Right. And
offense,
they
the
gave him a
Yes.
offense,
lot of short fields as well
the
that year.
Right.
offense has not been ranked over 21st since Nagy's been here. Even when they went to the
Right.
playoffs, they were
Right.
21st in the NFL. But the defense had 37 takeaways. They had
Mhm.
6 defensive touchdowns.
Yep.
So that shortens the field.
Yep.
And you know, Nagy won Coach of the Year. That's when Nagy was talking to the press, and everything was good.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh
when
yeah.
when your foot to the fire, you ain't really trying to hit. You ain't
Mhm.
really trying to hit. So that was then. This is now. And as Janet Jackson say, what have you done for me lately?
No, but
Absolutely
I was saying that to
nothing.
say that even though he got all that coach of the year and all that stuff, his offense still wasn't producing.
It
Just
wasn't
not
good. No,
right.
it
No, it
wasn't.
wasn't. Yeah.
It wasn't.
It's
The
like anything
offensive
else.
genius.
Right. You look at it's just like the penalties. Like for example, the penalties that we got that game, that 9 penalty game, whatever it was that we got, and we lost. And through our group page, they was talking about them penalties for a whole week. Now the Bears won 35-17. That conversation would last 3 minutes. And I think a lot of times when you're able to mask inefficiencies, that other inefficiency stuff, instead of just
Yeah.
kind of opining on it, you're like, okay, we need to get it together. The offense has been stagnant for like the last 4 years. So now it's just more pronounced because the defense is kind of beat up.
That's true.
But,
Yeah. So hey, looking at the defense today, the defense. I don't know. I thought it was interesting today for that to they actually faced the offense that is actually ranked worse than the Bears offense. And this was a little scary for a moment when you watch the game. If you didn't have, they kind of came up with some stops when they needed it, but I thought there was a few blown coverages. But this Seattle team, you can see it's not the same team that it was that went to the Super Bowl a few years ago. I don't know anything they do well from watching them. It was just kind of a uneven performance. But even with that said, I'll give the Bears defense I get them a C today. What about you, Tammy? How you grade the defense today? And what do you see at the defense?
Well, it wasn't the defense from last week. I'll tell you that much. I'm going between a C- and a D+ because I'm sorry, the defense today they were not there, and you didn't see. I don't care what y'all say, and you know who the main person know who I'm talking about. I don't care what you say. There was a lack of leadership on the defense, and Hicks was not in there, and that's all I'm gonna say. For now, anyway. I got more to say, but I got to finish my research.
Oh, research, huh?
Hey, hey, what do you say about the defense today, Mike?
It's been the same all year. I mean, we give up 24 points, just happen to score 25. The problem is that we don't. I mean, I'm still looking at the stats. Penny had 135 yards rushing. But here's a key stat. Metcalf and Lockett together have 5 receptions and 71 yards. I know that Thomas Graham gave up the touchdown to DK Metcalf early, but he came up with a key stop late in the game. I think it was a third down stop.
Yes, he did.
And he just kept fighting. So I like Thomas Graham as a person, as a player, and those underdog guys, 6th-round pick guys. Those are some of my favorite people. Especially when you're 6th round and win a lot of Super Bowls. I love 6th round.
So, I bet you would. You like the number
And when you break an
199 too, don't
iPad
you?
because you got shut out. You love him guys.
Excuse me. What? I'm sorry. Did this thing? What's she say? Matter of fact, when you do your research, you go back and look and you see Aaron Rodgers.
9-0.
That was a shot, Terry.
Right, but so they limited Aaron Rodgers to 3 points. The same team, but they won't be in the playoffs. That's all that matters. Now let's get back to this.
Right.
The defensive guys. We 55 got that dumb penalty at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, wow, okay. Just so happened that was on 4th down, and it was
but
at
the
the end of
penalty
the
was
play.
so petty. But the penalty was so petty.
That's a penalty, though.
It was so petty.
Jay, that
penalty
was worse.
Was so petty.
That was worse than the guy.
Is that what we call it? Is that what we call it in the NFL right now? Is that what we call it in the NFL? That petty penalty. Is that what we call it in the NFL right now?
You can't walk to a guy's bench.
You know what?
Bye-bye.
You know what? The problem is
it's a penalty.
We know that's at this point 15 games in or 16 games in. No, 15 games in. The players should know that that's they're gonna call it. I mean,
that's true.
Yeah, the players got to figure out that this is what they call it. I mean, maybe the first 4 or 5 games you don't know, but now they're at a point where they should know what they're calling. Lucky, it was not it was a post.
Yeah, it was after the play.
After the play.
But check this out though. The guy, I forgot his name. I ain't even seen him back on the field. But the guy in the Saints game just went over there and just stood and stared at. This guy went over there and was doing this. Bye. That was more than what
That's
the other.
So offensive to a bunch of grown men that they gotta call penalties. I'm with you, Jay, but I think it's ridiculous. But I also understand at this point we can't afford stupid penalties. We can't afford stupid penalties at this point. So until they get rid of that stupid, whiny baby calling, you can't do it. Because if it would have cost us the game, I would have been pissed. I think it's petty. I'm with you, Jay. It's real petty. A bunch of grown men can't take being waved at. Oh my God.
But let me finish my turn, because it's still my turn.
You should be finished.
You and Jay has just taken up my time. So now let's start. Now back to what I was saying before I was rudely interrupted again. Gee, it's a penalty. I hate the fact that I could drive my car 40 miles an hour and get a ticket because it's supposed to say 35. You take that chance on getting that ticket. You should know by now it's week 15 in the NFL that's going to be a flag. They come out, they go over what could be a flag, what could be taunting, what could be all of this. And it's interesting because both of those guys played on the previous team. This guy played for Seattle last year and went over there and was like, yeah, you cut me. Nah, bye. Nah, it's a penalty. I don't care what you say. It's going to be a flag. Keep on doing it. Tell the players to keep doing it. It's going to be 15. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you. And they wait and specifically throw the flag when it's going to hurt you the most. Go ahead.
Yeah. What was your grade, Mike? I'm sorry. What was your grade on defense?
I can give him a C. That's it.
C. Okay. Hey, Guy, what about you?
C.
Well, I've seen I'm giving him a D. You want to know why? I understand what people say about, league is soft now, whatever it is. Be that true. However, you lose it. If you want to taunt somebody, beat them. That's how you taunt them. You know what I'm saying? Was it Deion Bush or one of them? Who was it that got the taunting penalty on the kickoff or whatever? I'm like, okay, I understand. This is a cake league now. I'm sorry. Because there used to be a lot of stuff you get to do, but now because it's a business, they're trying to protect their image and interest and stuff. And I get all that. But when you know that, and especially if your team is basically scraping to get points, and every little thing that you do is going to get magnified, why do it? I mean, with our team, we're 5-10 now. We ain't got no reason to dance to do nothing right now. Get your ass up and just play. And that's my only thing. I don't have a problem if both sides are congruent where they say, okay, they get the wave of somebody and you get the wave and we're not going to blow a whistle. It's either or. If you're in a situation where you're costing your team, that last penalty, yeah, it was a BS penalty, but that's what happens when you don't play well. When you don't play well, sometimes they see stuff differently. Like you look at a playoff team, they probably wouldn't even got those calls. Just like that time we got all those penalties that time. Yeah, it was horrible. And there was a lot of them that would have gone completely BS or whatever, but you lose it. You ain't got your team's not great. So that's just me, but I give them a D for damn.
Okay.
Let them get a little joy every now and again where they can get it. Y'all a bunch of little buddy duddies. Y'all act like y'all never played the dozen.
So, no, you know what you do, yeah. But the thing is, if me and you play in the dozens and you got skills like that, I ain't going up against you because I'm smart enough. That would be like you being cold at playing the dozens and I can't, and I'm still going at you. You ain't doing nothing but ethering me, and I'm the one that's looking stupid because I know I ain't no good. But yeah, you're right. I mean, they take the fun out the game, but now that you have it in place like that, I mean, and you still do it. It's still like you say, if we in the playoffs and they do it, I say something, it wouldn't be a big deal. But when you losing like that, man, I know.
Yeah, the Bears. You want to take the fact that the Bears won today. Yeah, the Bears won today 25-24 against the Seahawks. I will say this: if you look at, and this is my opinion on this, if you go to the 2019 season, the 2020 season, and the 2021. This team has lacked discipline. This team has lacked discipline on both sides of the ball. In 2019 and 2020, the offense got a lot of pre-snap penalties as far as false starts and stuff like that. I mean, unless you visiting where it's real noisy, you should not have pre-snap penalties constantly because you know what the snap count is. This year, the Bears have a lot of stuff offensively where it's holding right because you can't block, but they do still have false starts on their offense. Defensively, for the last 2 years, the Bears defense get too many, if you agree or not agree, the Bears defense get too many post-play penalties. And those are lack of discipline plays because you know what? We know what the rules are, and I think a lot of this stuff is soft, but it is what it is until the players take it up. But you can't stop teams on third down, and then you get up and just push the guy after the play is over, and then you got your stop on third, but then now you extended and got them a new set of downs. I mean, how many times we'd have seen this? As a matter of fact, that probably happens every game this year. I can't think of a game that haven't happened where when the Bears players come up, push a player after they just stopped them on third down and get them a new set of downs. Let's lack of discipline. And I know Tammy mentioned leadership. The Bears defense don't have no leadership.
I ain't
They
gonna
looked
say
like
that.
they had leadership last week when somebody
I ain't
was
gonna
on the
say that.
field.
I ain't gonna say
but
they
I'm
got no
saying
leadership.
personally, if you look at the Bears, I can't say who's the leader of the Bears team. Who's the leader of the Bears team? I don't know.
On defense?
I don't know
On
who's the leader of the
defense,
Bears team.
there are leaders.
On defense? On
Two
defense,
of
I can tell
them
you.
wasn't in the
I can
game.
I'm
tell
not
you.
saying players don't
Ro-
play good. I'm just saying who's the leader on their team.
Two of
Who
them
rallies
weren't
the
in
Jermaine
players on the
Ifedi.
sideline? Who rallies the
Roquan
players on the
Smith.
sideline?
Roquan Smith is the leader on defense, and then you pair him with Akeem Hicks. People can
and
say what
man.
they want to about Akeem Hicks, man. I'm gonna tell you something. Akeem
Akeem
Hicks
Hicks is a
bring the
hell of a
fire.
player. If anybody say something
He
negative about
bring
him,
the
they
fire.
wrong. He
He
bring
can
the
play when
fire.
he's in the game.
Yeah,
How you
I
how
think
can
I
you lead the
was making comment
defense
about
and
him
you're
not being
not
in
in
the
the game?
game. Not that he's not a hell of
Well,
a player. Hakeem Hicks is a hell of a player.
well,
How can
Mike.
you
That's the
lead the
He
thing.
was worse
defense
than free
when
agent
you're not
signing.
on the field? How can
He's
you?
just not on the
And
field
then
enough.
the other thing
And that's the
too
thing.
with
That's the
Roquan,
thing.
Roquan is not really a vocal leader like that.
That's the
No, he's
point I'm
not.
trying to
He
mention.
leads
He's
by
not a
his
vocal
play.
leader.
He leads by
Yeah,
his play.
yeah. You're
He's
right.
not
You're
out
right.
there. You go over here.
You're
He's
right.
not doing all that. But Akeem can't be a leader because he's not on the field.
He's
He
not
could
on
be
the
a
field enough.
follower. Yeah, he could teach the other guy that's in his spot, but that's all he could do. You can't be a leader sitting on the sideline.
That's the point. That's the point. That's the point I'm making. When they go to the sideline, offensively or defensively, who is leading this team? I mean, y'all can tell me. I don't know. I know it's supposed to be the quarterback on offense overall. I don't see the leadership on this team.
Right. Well,
Well,
usually when you find
there
that
you
too,
go.
what happens is not only does the team know it, but even announcers and people watch. They'll say such and such. Like, I'll give you a perfect case in point. Mike Singletary was there. Mike Singletary was that guy. When Urlacher was there, Urlacher was that guy. You know, they always called out the guy. Now you don't. I think Khalil Mack, they probably did, but he ain't playing now.
They
So,
ain't playing
but a
enough.
lot of guys don't. And it's not that they can't lead, but just like you say, you know, guys get out there and they just do their thing. Like, they just lead by example. But you know, I don't know. I don't have a dog in the fight, but I honestly don't know who the leader of a defense is.
Yeah,
I
I
don't.
don't either. And that's not nothing to take away from him. I'm
And
just
Right.
lead by
making.
example is sometimes just fine. You ain't always
Yeah.
got to have a mouth.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
that is true.
You
That
you need
is
a
true.
mouth on this defense. You need somebody.
Well,
You need a
they could
mouth,
borrow yours.
huh?
Hey,
But you know what?
hey,
Here was the
I ain't
thing.
gonna play no dozens with Tammy. You win,
let's
Tammy.
But
move. Let's
here's
move over to the special teams. Yeah, we're
that's what
getting
Tammy's
sidetracked.
in control of the special teams. Go
So,
ahead.
Jay, what's your opinion on the special teams today, and what's your grade?
I special teams. I give them an incomplete today. You know, messy field. You know, we had a whole bunch of. You know, uh, a lot of snow. Footing wasn't good. You know, we did. I believe we did miss a field goal, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly. So I'll get them an incomplete. I want to go back to the defense because I didn't get my defense a grade, but I get a defense a D because it was a bend but don't break, but y'all was really bending. Y'all was really bending. So defense, I give a D. Special teams, I give them an incomplete because it wasn't really nothing to show. I mean, you know, Pat O'Donnell did have some good punts, but at the end of the day, you know, gutsy calls from Matt Nagy or whoever was calling plays today actually won this game, and that's what I can say about it. But like I said again, I want to reiterate to everybody, I'm not impressed at all. At all. Not
What
impressed.
about you, Tammy? What about special teams today?
I'll give them a D because they didn't really do anything. They didn't have any good returns. They missed a field goal. They made a field goal. They
They was
They
just
didn't
out
really
there.
help. They didn't. I mean, Herbert had some bad. Was it Herbert? He had like some
Yeah.
runs where he didn't where he didn't even really get back to the 25. Like it wasn't really impressive. Their returns weren't good today at all. Didn't give us great field position.
Okay. Hey, personally, my grade, I get him a D on special teams. I really don't like Khalil Herbert back there at kickoffs. He doesn't really
And I
run
do.
with enough
I
authority on
do.
kickoff.
And I do.
I'd rather him just down it because if he's not, I go back to Jakeem. What you call it? I'm not, if he's not gonna get to the 25, then he might as well down it. And Khalil Herbert really doesn't run with a lot of speed back there on kickoffs. I don't know. That's my observation, but I don't think we really did much on special teams, so I give him a D. If I go back to you, Jay, what you got?
No, I was just gonna say I think Khalil Herbert actually do pretty well on kickoff return. Daz Newsome was the one that made me kind of scary today because it was his first time returning punts. Jakeem Grant was out, and they had Demir Bird back there last week, and he bobbled one. So they had the rookie back there, and so I was kind of fearful of that. But outside of that, I mean, it was just okay. It was a D. It was okay. I wasn't, and I wasn't scared. But Khalil Herbert actually does pretty well back there in the place of Jakeem Grant. In my personal opinion.
The guy, what about your grade on special teams?
And special teams look like Stevie Wonder and doggone what's his name?
Cut it out.
What's my man's name? Ray Charles in the finals of the kids table tennis tournament. They did okay. I just kind of disappointed that just like Tammy said, she's talking about offense, defense. I'd like to see everybody click on all cylinders where nobody does too bad and everybody does pretty good. And today's special teams was rather uneventful. I mean, Santos Claus, he did what he did. It happens, but he's the man. That's my guy. They just, I really don't have a whole lot of. I don't have anything really, really bad to say about, but I don't have anything.
But
good
nothing good
so,
either.
Right, so I just for the benefit of the doubt, I'm gonna give him a C minus. How's that?
Hey, real quick, but did y'all see the cheap shot? Did y'all see the cheap shot that they got took on Carlos Santos? I'm like, okay, your whole thing is you want to take out the kicker, right? He ain't even close to the play, but you want to take out the kicker, really do. Right. So yeah.
That's where you take them mental notes. That's that little chip block that you give next year. To just send a goon out there, knowing like a 37th round draft pick that just basically sit next to the water boy, and on that play when he comes, you put him out there. And his job ain't to block, it ain't to tackle. Your job is just to go across the line and kneecap his butt.
Okay.
I know, Tammy.
I see
I'm going
two comments out there before I come to you. Quick. Coach Purdy say Bill Lazor called the plays today. Not Nagy. Yeah, I really didn't see Nagy with a play sheet too much today.
Well, no, he said the 2-play conversion call.
Oh, the 2 plays, right. And then he said, then Andre Sellers say special teams did nothing today. And then I see Coach Purdy gave the defense. Looked like he gave the defense. I think he said the defense get a D. Okay,
Nagy was out here like this. Nagy was out here like this.
Nagy was calling plays.
His play sheet
was at a frat party.
It wasn't big, but he had one that was out here like this. So yeah,
Nagy was at a frat party. He was sniffing something, but it wasn't.
Them calls in the red zone. Them calls in the red zone. Those were Nagy plays. I'm sorry, those were Nagy plays. How you go 5 wide?
You know what? The Wildcat was popular. About 2000.
Early part of 2001. So.
Early, it was actually 15? When 15
Miami.
When
Miami was the first ones. The Dolphins were the first ones to bring that out with.
Yep.
Yeah, sure was, because they was running with Ricky Williams, right? Back then, you going back that far? I think they ran a little bit back then with Ricky Williams.
But how do you call the Wildcat first and goal from the 4? And Montgomery is in the backfield getting the handoff. Everybody know he's getting the handoff. He's getting the snap. So you're not fooling anybody. And Nagy has called that. Nagy / Laser, whoever it is, 4 straight games. 4 straight
Yeah.
games. That has been a call in the red zone. It has not worked. It has not
Mm-hmm.
worked.
He said Tony Soprano. Oh man. Hey,
What you got, Mike?
for the special teams, I just looked. Santos didn't miss a field goal. He only kicked one.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
And
I'm sorry.
he hit both extra points. So if you guys want to upgrade your grades to a C minus, I mean we can do
Well,
that.
they still didn't give us anything on field position when
Well,
on the
no,
returns.
they didn't, because every time they scored, they kicked the ball off, and then Seattle was starting on the 40.
On the 40.
You're like, wait a minute, what,
So it
man?
was Seattle that missed the field goal.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah,
was.
that's how the Bears won. But I'm only giving them a C because it wasn't nothing special, not at all.
Special
They
teams
did their
wasn't special.
It was
jobs.
a
Yeah,
team.
they
They
just
weren't
did their
special.
jobs. That's all it was. So it was just a C effort gets a C. That's all. That's all you can get. I don't even have much to say about that. It's just a C. That's all.
Hey, what about the coaching? Who has a grade on the coaching, overall coaching? You want to start off, Tammy? You got that look like.
D. I mean, I'll just say D, if not an F, because I mean the play calling was horrendous. I mean, early on, I sent y'all a text and I was like, when did he become a running back? I'm live because it just didn't make sense to me. Mike, you said Montgomery had more yards receiving than he did running, right?
Oh yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, so
61
I was
yards
like, when
receiving.
did Mooney become a running back and when did Montgomery become a receiver? So those were dumb. Those were dumb calls. The Wildcat, I wish they would burn it. I'm just tired of it. The quarterback sneaks, even though I actually thought that they should have called that because I actually said that right before they called it, and I was surprised they did it. It just needed to be executed better. Because I was like, yeah, they never really run that. They should try to make it happen. They threw the ball way too much when they should have been running. I mean, it was just bad decisions like the whole game about what they should have been running. It was a bad play design for the whole game. I'll say a D minus because even though I really do believe that the Bears have, more weapons than they get credit for, I really believe that with more effective play calling, this whole season could have been a lot different. It would have looked a lot different if we had an effective play caller.
Okay. Hey, Tammy, do your niece have an opinion on the game too?
She
And
just
she
keeps
probably
jumping in my lap, jumping in and out of my
and
lap.
she
I'm like,
gonna be
girl,
right
say
if she
shit.
say whatever she say.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
she's
Right,
like,
say
hey, listen.
shit.
right.
She's like, Auntie, we just need to get this over with so I can have my time with you. Hey, Jay, how do you grade the coaching?
I grade the coach and I give him a D. I can't give him no more because, like I said, this game right here, I put on the players, and the players did the execution of the bad plays that was called. This play calling today was atrocious. It was absolutely horrible, and the Bears won this game in spite of.
Yeah.
In spite of, they
Yep.
won this game in
Yep.
spite of.
Yep.
It was horrendous on offense as well as defense.
Mm-hmm.
The Bears came up with a couple of key stops, but not those stops that we were sitting there looking and Penny would get 25 yards here, 35 yards here. He was gassing. Mike just mentioned the stat. I didn't know Penny was over 130 yards rushing in this game. So yeah,
Yes.
the coaching was bad, but the Bears won in spite of. So I get a coach in the D. The play calling was absolutely atrocious,
Hey,
atrocious today.
hey Jay, he averaged 7.9
That's sad. That's
yards a
sad, man.
carry.
How
Most
about
teams
this one?
average Most teams average 7.9 yards per pass play, not per run
Right,
play.
right,
Are you
right.
kidding me? Please.
Dude, look, Gerald Everett, between Gerald Everett and DK Metcalf, they had 6 receptions for 109 yards. They almost averaged 20 yards a catch with two
But I can
touchdowns.
say, but I can say, I get them credit. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett didn't get off today.
Right.
No, they didn't.
No.
They
Yeah.
didn't get off today. So just like Justin Jefferson last week and Kirk Cousins had 87 yards passing last week against the Bears.
There you go.
This team is atrocious, and you just don't know where to put the blame. You don't know where to put the blame at. I know
where to put the blame.
Right.
Well, okay. You put the blame on the coaching, but it's sad. We are in the sad state of affairs right now, man. I don't know. We got 2 games left. I'll be so glad this season over with. Oh my God, I'll be so glad this season is over with because I don't know where we going. I don't know where we going.
Hey, Guy, how do you grade the coaching, Guy?
I'm giving overall D-. I'm gonna tell you why. We'll go on the board with a couple people, and they're talking about different things about the whole pace angle, and this is where I'm getting at. Everybody in the league know what type of plays you have. Everybody knows what type of tendencies you have to run plays. The reason why the Bears have not been successful on offense is because Nagy doesn't make adjustments. Jay said this last year, and I'll repeat what he said. We were talking about the initial plays, the first 12 to 15. It's like Nagy's almost like, yeah, you know what? They're changing, but you know what? This is going to work. We're going to keep this play. You make adjustments at the line of scrimmage. That's the difference. If you took our playbook and gave it to a credible coach, they would run that joker like we'd average about 25 points a game because the way that playbook is structured and how it is, it's structured to get you loose. But if you keep, 2 quarterback sneaks in a row, you get your workhorse to grip off 11, 12 yards and take him out, and then you do 5 passes and all that stuff. It's just disarray, man. It's disarray. And I don't care what nobody says. Look at, and we can't really say that Tampa Bay Super Bowl team because their offense wasn't great. But one thing that they had that a lot of people failed to recognize, when they needed 3 or 4 yards, they didn't throw to Keyshawn. They gave it to Mike Allstott straight up the gut, and he gets you 5 yards. But so overall, with everybody, you average it out, I got to give him a D.
You give him a D.
It's one of those things. I'm sorry, real quick. It's one of those things, to piggyback on what you said, Guy, it's one of them things where our offense, as well as our defense, they throw darts at the wall. There's no rhythm. There's no rhythm.
Yep.
Where's the rhythm? Darts at the wall and see what's going to stick. And that's where we've been on this offense for the last 3 years.
Dude, if I tell you what, as big and as hard as Montgomery runs, if he run off 11 yards, guess what? I would even run it right back to the same spot and let him hit the same dude. Because I tell you, people don't really pay attention to it. But on defense, when you get them teams that got teams that are run heavy, man, you look at the defensive line, the 4 corner on the sidelines, they like this.
Gasping.
They like tired and they hurting. They hurting, but we run 11 yards and then we throw some old Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey circus play that don't even work on Madden.
Lavelle Jones said the Bears have no identity. Fire everybody. Hey,
No
quick,
identity.
what you have as far
No
as grading
identity.
coaches?
Well,
no identity.
The coaches are not getting the best out of the players. And what I mean by that is they are, we have some quality guys. But when you have quality guys running garbage plays, then those are the results you're going to get. Everybody on here knows that I'm a big Tom Brady fan. But who is Surreal Grayson? Who is that guy? Anybody know who that is?
Probably Robin's cousin.
Well, today he had 3 catches and 81 yards for the Bucks. I don't even know who the dude is. But, it's the system. When you can plug players into a system that works, it doesn't matter who is that guy.
That's a good point, Mike.
He's just entitled to make plays.
God darn it, that's a good point.
Somebody was talking to me last week about Brady not having all his weapons and all that. I was like, dude, the dude won a Super Bowl with Chris Cash. Who is that?
There you go.
And the dude was out there making catches who had just came, literally how we be talking, cracking jokes. He just came from actually working at the supermarket 3 weeks before the Super Bowl and actually perform well. We, as the viewer said, we don't have an identity, and until we find that, we run a lot of plays. And I said this last week, we run too many negative yarded plays.
Yep.
We got Mooney, who's supposed to be a
Mhm.
speedster, but he's running jet sweeps and all. Who's taking the
Handoff.
top off the defense?
Handoffs.
Hey,
Who's
can I
taking
He's
the
getting
top off the
handoffs in the
defense?
backfield.
can I just say something real
What are we
quick?
doing?
You know why? And I'm gonna go to basketball because it'll make a lot of people. This will make all the sense in the world. If you took that 72-10 Bulls team, don't watch them play. Go to basketball.com and look at their roster. That's why these young kids like that team, that Bulls team ain't gonna beat Golden State. They ain't got nobody. You know what the genius of that squad was? Phil Jackson accentuated what they did great and masked what they did bad. You ain't never see
Exactly.
Steve Kerr do no mixing and one. It was like this. Okay, this is what you gonna do. This is what you gonna do, Luke Longley.
Pick and
What you
pop,
gonna do
baby.
when I come off? You gonna pop out 15 yards. You can hit that. I don't want to see you doing those spin moves or nothing like that. And guess
Yeah.
what? The players bought into it, and they only did what they were great at, and that's why they won 72 games. Our problem is the fact that we do have pieces where we actually, to be perfectly honest, and I'll say that people can drag me all they want. That squad we got right now is a playoff squad. The problem is because them guys want to play and they got talent. But if you take a guy like Mooney, I'm driving in my car, I hit my brakes. I'm like, what's up with these announcers? They can't even get our names right. They out here talking about Mooney is a running back. And they did again. And I'm looking at the text. I'm like, for real? That's what I'm talking about. Mooney, like one of your fastest guys on the squad. You got him there. You got two stud running backs plus another really good one. But you put one of your fastest wideouts in the backfield.
Man, we should try to
Hey, Mike, did they get
every
you
game.
grade?
Nah,
I never
because
got the grade.
they guy got a little upset, so I let him go.
Yeah.
But it just making
Thank you.
in comparison to what he was saying. If you go back, and I hate going back to the '85 Bears,
No.
Willie Gault ran one route.
That's
Yep.
all he ran.
Yep.
That's all
He
he ran.
ran
That's
one
all he
route,
ran. That was
and
my
he
guy.
ran it well.
That was my
Yep.
guy.
He took the top off the defense. Why are we not throwing the ball deep? Like it's like something that we can't do. I would rather see us go 0 for 12 passing, trying to get the ball to Mooney deep, than instead of watching him trying to run jet sweeps. And once Nagy falls in love with something, he just continues to try to run that. Because now I bet you what he's doing, he's looking at all the success that Cordero Patterson is having, and like, man, we got one of those guys that can do that, and we got rid of him. But my grade for the coaching is a C minus. Yeah.
Okay.
And just to
C
go
minus.
back, and just to go back real quick,
I gotta give him
Bernard
an
said
extra
something.
point for the 2-point conversion. That's all.
Bernard said something a couple of weeks ago where he was just like, he was like, the Bears coaches don't utilize the talent that they have in the
Yep.
positions that they have them in. And the
Yep.
bottom line is, with this coaching staff, as far as offensively, they run when they should pass, and they pass when they should run.
Because they don't know
And
no better.
that's just the bottom line with this defense. Or I'm sorry, with this offense that's just bad. It's just bad. And I'm so sick of seeing this, man. I'm so sick of seeing
And
this.
let me tell you what's funny. Here's the funny part before Nutty goes. We're talking as though the Bears lost today. And
Exactly.
Go ahead, Nutty.
That's why I pointed that out to the Bears earlier. I said the Bears won 25-24. But overall, as far as coaching, I'm gonna give the Bears coaching a D plus today. D plus. But listening to a couple of comments by Jay and Tammy that she made earlier, I made me think about this book. I may not get the title right, but it was something in reference to, it was one of those books you get from work, but it was a reference about building your strengths. But anyway, the summary of the book was working on your strengths and not your weakness. An example I remember in the book was, if a guy is, let's say 5'11", and he could barely get up and kind of maybe dunk a little bit. I'm using basketball, but he really don't have that kind of hops. That's not his strength, dunking the ball. So he either could go to practice and keep trying to dunk the ball, or he could go to practice and work on what he's good at. Now, he could waste a lot of time in practice trying to get a dunk in, and he's probably, if he ain't got if he don't have hops like Jalen Rose or Muggy Bowles, he probably not gonna dunk over anybody. So that's what the Bears remind me of. They remind me offensively. They work on. Matter of fact, announcer said a few weeks ago, the Bears seem to do stuff that they're not good at. And
Absolutely.
yeah, you look at games, you know they're a running team, but they do not want to admit they're a running team. Like that's something bad, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I know for the life of me, all us mentioning, I don't care how many yards Montgomery could bust out on. They take him out immediately. Like I mean, I'm sure he's not going to get no oxygen because he doesn't even look like he's tired. For some reason, he'll get a long run. They'll take him out, put him on the sideline. Why? Let that guy's an old school runner. He wants that ball. Matter of fact, he one of them guys, if you give it to him 35 times, he'll probably want it 35 times. So that's your strength. You are a running team. That's what you are. You're a running team that play great defense. But what you want to be is sometimes you want to do finesse stuff. I don't even understand it. You're trying to be finesse. But your identity on your line, that's why I can't wait till they fire Nagy. As a matter of fact, I'm going to lead to this final point. There was a report today again by Aaron Rappaport today that's saying Nagy will be fired after this game, and it had nothing to do with if they won or lost. Do anybody give any credence to that report by Aaron Rappaport?
For what at this point? I mean,
So they can start looking because they can't formally start looking until they announce that they release them. That's the point.
No, but then they changed that though to where it's during the season or something like that. They're on the interview. Okay.
You got to announce it.
Okay.
But Bernard, to what you were saying, I want to just add the reason is that everybody had, or not everybody, but a lot of people are buying into this. The NFL is an offensive powerhouse. It's a passing league. That's the way you got to win. Blah, 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 blah. But there's more than one way to win. But everybody thinks that they need to build these amazing powerhouse offensive teams to compete in what they say the NFL is today. The NFL is whatever the players make it. And if you are effective at what you do, and if you got a defense that can shut people down, and if you got a team that can run the ball like a workhorse and make the conversions that they need to in the end zone, you can win with a run game and great defense. You can still win the old-fashioned way. But if they bought into this, everybody needs to be this offensive powerhouse with these amazing quarterbacks that get you 40 points. It's more than one way.
Making me put my jacket and my tie back off. I'm about to go to church.
I just want to piggyback real quick and ride Tammy back on that whole thing. That's what the problem is in the NBA. Everybody want to be cute. How many times did y'all watch the game today and y'all heard the announcer like, the Bears don't need to get cute. They need to just convert the first down. In the red zone, to me, I don't care who your quarterback is. When you go 5 wide on first and goal on the 3-yard line, you're a dummy. I'm sorry. You shorten the field. So it's first and goal on the 3. So you only have 13 yards, but you got 5 wide receivers that's trying to run a pattern. Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like Denzel said in training day. It's not chess. This checkers is not. It's chess is not checkers. It's chess is not checkers. And I don't understand. I don't understand it. I don't understand it because you can win the same way that people been winning the Super Bowl for years.
Maybe put my blaze in my tie back home. I feel like I'm going. She went to church.
Hey, so Jay, I seen you nod your hair earlier. So you think it's any credence to Ian Rappaport's report?
No.
And that's a credible source, though.
Ian Rappaport is a very credible source.
He's very credible.
But guess what? I got the post game on right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking
at. And I still ain't heard nothing. And guess what? It's an hour and a half, 2 hours after the game. It ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen.
And they got the Giants. Be true, and the organization they got the Giants. Like they got the Giants
Sunday. They got the Giants Sunday, and they play the Vikings next week. Black Monday, oh baby boy, January 3rd. If I don't hear Matt Nagy's name dropped as being fired,
it don't even have to wait till Monday. He could be fired
January 2nd after the game.
Hey, y'all ever see that movie Office Space? Y'all ever seen that movie
I
Office
think I
Space?
did. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Though.
That's Matt Nagy, the guy who was always asking for the red staple.
Oh yeah.
You remember they wanted to fire him, but they was too afraid to tell him. So they kept moving him around. And you remember at one point he's in the basement, right? And they still don't tell him he's fired. And he wasn't getting his check.
Man.
And then they told him he was fired. He set the building on fire.
I want to
But
say,
he needs to go ahead and do it so they can start
I want to
the
actually
interview
say,
process.
I want to actually say, I want to drop a caveat.
Caveat.
January 9th, 1914, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated was founded. I would love to hear January 9th, 1914, that Matt Nagy got fired from the Chicago Bears. I would love it. I would love it.
I would like to see him get on the podium after that game, at the game at the end of the season, and say, "I am being fired." I would give a little joy.
The only way I think that they fire him now is if some other teams fire their coaches.
Right.
That's the only way I see them doing it. Because there's really
because now you're scrambling.
Yeah, there's no reason to fire him now. Because the only coach that only team that's looking for a coach right now is Jacksonville.
Right.
So everybody else that may get fired at the end of the season. I don't even know how many guys that are really on the chopping block.
Oh, it's gonna be at least 4 or 5. It's gonna be at least 4 or 5. It's gonna be at least 4 or 5.
Right, but if nobody else announces right now, there's really no reason to announce right now.
That's
right.
And then you somebody gotta be first. Why you gotta follow everybody?
Well, Urban Meyer was first.
Make a decision. Make your own
Urban Meyer was first. Urban Meyer was first.
Grow up here.
She said, "Grow up here."
She said, "Grow up."
Final 2 games.
All of us have a pair.
So the final 2 games against the Giants and the Vikings are the final 2 games of the season.
Yeah.
You need these.
That Giants game is a winnable game. Hey, what's up, Jordan? Jordan is one of my co-workers.
J5.
Jordan is actually a member of Phi Beta Sigma. What's up, Greek?
Yo, what
he got J5. He's a Kappa.
He's a Kappa. I'm sorry,
J5.
He's a Kappa, Jay. I'm sorry.
Just shaking and twitching.
I said that, but he's a Kappa. I'm sorry, my fault.
What's up, Greek?
Yeah, he from Jackson State.
Jackson State.
Hold on, we got somebody. Tammy, say it again. Tammy from Brenda.
Twas the day after Christmas.
Right.
We got a couple
has
of comments
no balls. We did win
that
the
means
game,
Pace is
and
safe,
your
then.
boy got installed.
We can fire.
So
Pace.
hey, we'd like to thank everybody who's watching us on YouTube and Facebook tonight. Yeah, you know what? That would actually still be key, Mike. Is what do they plan to do with Pace?
Right, because if you fire you fire Nagy, you still got Pace, and Pace is going to be in the hiring process again. The coach, you can fire Pace first. That's who could be fired tomorrow.
Or just like I got a feeling he's going to go upstairs.
I don't care. Just make a decision.
Yeah, they need to.
That's what I agree, Tammy.
Yeah,
make a decision. I agree totally, Tammy. It's time to make a decision. We say, great job, y'all, from Jordan. That's what I am at this point. Like, let's make a decision so we can at least move on. As far as us as Bears fans, I mean, we support this team. It doesn't matter who they hire. We may be upset the first day announce it, but us as fans, we get behind those players. I mean, the coaching, the general manager. I mean, that's one thing us about Bears fans. I mean, we love the Bears. I don't know if we just stupid. I don't know, but we love the Bears fans because we're going to stick with them. But we do know that there has to be a decision coming soon. And
the best announcement that the Bears can make right now is George McCaskey come out like, we gonna promote what's his name? Ted, we're gonna promote Ted Phillips to executive of accountant, and we're gonna hire a vice president of operations who's gonna hire a general manager, and that general manager is gonna hire a coach. That's what we need. If we don't get that, we're gonna be stuck with the same thing. Ted Phillips needs to be out of the equation when it comes to vice president of football operations. That's it. So
you know what's gonna happen?
What happens?
They're gonna bring somebody in that's got a football person. They're gonna bring a real football person up in here, and Ted Phillips gonna come say something like, I don't care if you're vice president or not. Your job is to go out there. Why don't you go have them build you a condo out there in that empty Arlington place with a dead signal, so no, you can't make no calls or get none. Let me do my damn job.
Hey, all I need is Ted Phillips right now to negotiate this thing with Arlington Heights.
Yep.
That's all I need him. I don't need him to do nothing else.
Exactly.
I don't need him to do nothing else. That's his only. As far as I'm concerned, that's his only job. Negotiate and get this stadium built in Arlington Heights. Let's get us a vice operations football person who's going to hire a GM, and that GM is going to hire a coach. That's all I want. That's it. That's the only thing.
Here's my biggest fear: is that these idiots don't do anything for next year.
Oh man,
that's my biggest fear.
And that would be sad. That would be sad.
So I'm sitting here like
that would be sad.
They gotta see what we see, but you gotta think about this. These people are not football people. You know what I'm saying? They're concerned about guys like Jay buying their season ticket for next year. That's all they care about. That's all they care about. They don't care if we win or if we lose.
They're not
they can't care.
But they got ears.
They don't care.
They got ears.
I'm telling you, they don't care.
They've had ears.
When are they gonna be tired?
They've had ears. They've had ears.
No, but I'm saying at some point somebody tell you something enough. It might take a while to sink in, but eventually it gotta sink in. So I just gotta believe it has finally sunk in.
And I think it has.
Everybody that's a Bears fan, from even down in Atlanta where you stay at, and everybody across the country to my boys in Phoenix, everybody knows that this dude needs to be fired. Everybody knows that Ryan Pace needs to be fired. But at the end of the day, I've said this before, the Bears run this as a corporate organization and not a football organization. And that is my biggest fear. Yeah, that is my biggest fear, because everybody knows that that Pace should be fired and that Nagy should be fired. But my biggest fear is that they'll say, "Oh, well, we won 5 or 6." Because I had them at 6-10. No,
I got them at 6 and 9. I got them at
6-11.
6-11. Yeah,
I had them at 6-11, and they'll say, "Well, we had a lot of young players, and let's give this guy one more time."
COVID, we had COVID, and we had injuries. And
when you're in a bad relationship, you just need to cut your losses and let it go.
Well, I think that's what this year was. I don't think they're gonna do that again. And
we hope they don't do it again. We hope.
I think that's why they gave them another shot this year.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Before we go,
what has he done to deserve another shot last year?
He didn't, but I'm saying they can't have that same argument again, because they was used this year.
We hope. I can only hope that somebody is like, you know what, this is not working.
Okay. The Bears win today 25-24 against Seattle. Guy, last comments, and then we're going to close out.
No, I was going to say, you know what? If the McCaskies was Jerry Jones, I could see it. Because, first of all, they started Justin Fields without the first reps in the preseason. I mean, in a camp. It was just because that was their sentiment. Like a Jerry Jones, he'd be like, hey, you know what? It's our guy. Dalton's our guy. But you know what? I want you to give this kid some reps just in case. They kind of threw him out there, one. Number two, if it's a problem with the team, like with Nagy, Jerry Jones going to come down there. Well, Jerry Jones going to give autonomy to the general manager. And if they can't do it, Jerry Jones ain't going to come down and tell him to stop calling plays. Jerry Jones going to fire his ass.
That's a bad analogy, because he kept Jason Garrett, who must have had some naked pictures on him.
He probably did.
Forever. Jason Garrett should have been fired 5 years before he got fired.
But that's just like getting out of a bad relationship and going right into another. You got to think that Romo left before that, right?
Romo.
Hey, thank everybody for tuning in tonight. We'll see you next week. What's that, Tammy? I'm sorry.
I want to put my bid out there like Riddick did. Hire me. I'm going to fire everybody.
I'll take it. I'll vote for you, Tammy. I'll vote for you. You're going to clean house.
Tammy for GM. But the next two games, like I said, are the Giants and the Vikings. Those games are winnable. So see you on the pregame show at the end of the week. Peace.